my name is Pastor Ing Song Kaping. I get the privilege of pastoring one church here in the Lake Highlands, Northeast Dallas area. We are part of the DBA, and honestly, since the beginning of our story and even before that, the Dallas Baptist Association and the beautiful team there were a part of helping us manage and talk through our conversations about looking for the pastor who would come and serve at North Lake Baptist Church at the time. And that was the name of this building, and the congregation that was meeting out of this building. We ended up having conversations about a merger.
The church itself, North Lake, wasn't growing, getting older, and so when I retired, what I wanted to do is to help them after I left. And so I had heard of the Dallas Baptist Association's Next Step program. I didn't really know what was involved in it, but I knew that the DBA, try to develop things that are helpful for a church. And I knew for certain that North Lake couldn't really exist well just doing the same thing that always done.
When our former pastor decided to retire in December of 2019, he asked a group of us to be on a team to work with the Dallas Baptist Association on next steps for this church. And I was one of those who was asked to be on that team. We began working right away to find an interim pastor, and we found Pastor Ken Branham, and that's been a real blessing to our church during that interim time. And Pastor Ken and our team of 5 worked for more than a year leading our church and learning about where we were and where we needed to be.
The church had already reached a point where they knew that something significant had to happen for the future to really be possible and to keep a church here at McCree and Ferndale. So we worked with the DBA for a little over a year, probably closer to a year and a half, trying to look at the various options and find out what is the very best thing we could do. We're searching for God's will for the future of this church. So we did a lot of study of presentations, looking at all the options and looking at all of the demographics and the things that the association provided for us. And it became very clear that the best thing we could do is to try to find a church that could unite with us and we could merge together and really have a significant group of people to reach out to the community and have a ministry that has some impact and could reach the people around here.
I had been pastoring Northwest Terrace Baptist Church, a small house church here in the Lake Highlands area as well, that was birthed out of and planted from North Lake Baptist Church. We had a strong relationship, and we started talking about and praying what it would look like for us to maybe become one church. And so by God's grace, looking and having conversations with Bob Dean and Scott Coleman and the DBA team, we started to meet with the Next Steps team here at North Lake and discuss the opportunity to do that.
Hi, I'm Jairus Withrow, and I'm a member here at One Church. I am in fact the music minister, and I absolutely love One Church. Something I particularly love is the way we started, and that we were a merger between 2 different churches, the North Lake congregation and the Northwest Terrace House Church congregation. And so something that's been really amazing as being in charge of our music and tech ministry has been to see the combination of our 2 different musical cultures come together and be able to represent both of those and do those well. And so I love that we have that kind of diversity in our congregation, and we get to praise and glorify God together.
The thing that I love about One Church is that it's very multi-generational, and there are people from 96 years old all the way down to 7 weeks old.
My husband and I returned from missionary serving in Taiwan, moved to Dallas, and the next year we joined this church. We have been so pleased with it. wonderful fellowship, wonderful people who love the Lord and encouragers to us.
We started coming to One Church actually the first week of the merger, and it was just a really neat experience and humbling experience. I think we learned a lot about humility and putting others' needs above our own.
One of the things that really drew us to One Church was their mission statements. Love God, love people, make disciples, and that was a prayer for me and Jacqueline. As we were searching for a new congregation, we wanted to be more intentional in our relationship with Christ, and so to see a congregation that really understood that through their mission statement, we immediately knew this is where we wanted to come.
The name One Church really comes out of John 17, the verse there where Jesus is praying for his disciples, specifically verses 20 to 23. He prays that the apologetic of us actually becoming perfectly one in our unity as he is one with the Father would show an unbelieving world that he was real, that his love was real. And so that's where really we got the name One Church. And before the merger, that really lay and impressed upon our hearts to name our church One Church. And then of course the merger brought us together, so we became One Church. And so pun definitely intended. And so that's a little bit of our story. We love mission trips. We love outreach. One of the great things that God has really blessed us with, or the gifts that he's blessed us with, is food, music, and soccer.
We are partnered with One Church. We are under the authority of the church. They help us with the direction of the ministry. Ing, our pastor, is very committed to us. Having that support of the church pretty much really makes the ministry possible because, you know, God calls us to be equipped in the body. And so we're out here sharing the gospel, building relationships, but it's the local church that builds up and raises these men into be the men that God wants them to be.
Somehow, some way, I'm seeing our church being built up into the household of God. Every every person that's coming to our congregation, along with the prophets that have gone before us, have come together, being built up into the household and temple of God, where God himself dwells. And we are excited because together we can fully glorify God as his people and worship him, the true living God, for who he is and what he's done for us on the cross through Jesus Christ. And I'm looking forward to what God will continue to do. And our partnership with the DBA continues to be very strong. If there's any churches out there that are going through a similar situation or this process, we want to be a resource of prayer and encouragement, questions alongside the DBA, and just encourage everyone out there, especially churches who are figuring out maybe some next steps. Maybe there's been a pastor that's moved on or recently passed away. Whatever the situation might be, I want to encourage you that the DBA, brothers, sisters within the DBA, and the churches sister churches that participate in partnership with the DBA are here for you and would love to come alongside you for your next journey and next steps in the gospel and for the kingdom and glory of Jesus Christ.